Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is the show that I do every single week, typically on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. But because of some things in my personal/professional life, it required me to actually make some adjustments and go live a day earlier. So I want to thank everyone who is joining me here in this live stream, that is watching this on replay, for making the necessary adjustments because we have been pretty consistent with this for about 41 weeks. We've had a couple of, as of late, things happen because of just life getting in the way of comic books. But I want to thank you all for making the adjustments to continue supporting what we are doing here. We have not a jam-packed agenda. I mean, there's some things that I definitely want to talk about, but we're going to be very fluid with this thing. But this is a show that I do pretty consistently, in which I give you a heads up on everything that comes out from the Regie Collects channel over the course of the week. We talk about some news, some current events. We talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about. And then we also give away a cool slab or two from our sponsor, Go Collect. And I'm going to give you guys a rundown of the things that are going to be coming out from the channel this week. And I think there's a couple of good things. But before we get too far into the agenda, I want to take a moment to say hello to some comic book soldiers that have joined me here in the room for this Saturday night show. I see Squirrel Madness in here. Tina's in the house. Randy's here. Felix is here. Harvey, you will see this back on replay. It's good to see you, my friend. James Tomlinson, how you doing, brother? Bearded Comic Collector, scrolling down. Mike is in the house. Matt is here. Scrolling. Johnny Future, how you doing, brother? It's always good to see you. Comic Book 62 is here. I think I said hello to that Mike, but maybe there was another Mike. So I'll put that mic up on the screen just to make sure that I don't skip anybody as I scroll down through the names. Greek Freak is in the house. It's good to see you, my friend, as always. Scrolling, who is this? Rush Die Hard, my Canadian brother. How you doing, my friend? Collecting Chaos is in the house. All right, it is good to see you all. And again, I want to thank everybody for making the necessary adjustments to be here for the live show. It is definitely good to see all of you. We had a jam-packed day today. We went out to the Wally World, aka Walmart, and picked up a bunch of Christmas ornaments and accoutrements for the house, and then went to Michael's where the shopping continued, and then came home where the shopping continued on Amazon and several other sites. And so yeah, it's been an interesting day, but there are 3 Christmas trees in my house right now. All 3 of them are decorated, and you may actually see some of this in a future video. So stay tuned for that. But let me scroll down to the bottom here because I probably venomized. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, there you go. So I was going to make a joke about that, but I decided to let it go. High Voltage Mark is like, is that why you are all glittery, my friend? I am covered in glitter. I vacuumed the area in which the Christmas tree and all that stuff was being assembled, and there is glitter everywhere. I vacuum and there's glitter everywhere, and there's glitter on the vacuum. There is that much glitter in my house. But the kids had a blast, as did the wife. So here we are for this live stream, and we're gonna jump into this. So if you are watching this in the room right now, or if you're watching this on replay and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do it. That way you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a weekly basis. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the book. This is the book that is going to be given away tonight. And if the person that wins this book sends me their email address tonight, this book is actually going to be mailed out to them tomorrow. This is Uncanny X-Men number 127, 9.8 CGC white pages. This is a Chris Claremont story, John Byrne cover and art, newsstand, and it is a Proteus appearance. Definitely a really cool book. And so shout out to Go Collect. I should also mention that, and I think I alluded to this the other day, we have been in the process of negotiating again, Go Collect and I am pleased to say that we have reached an agreement where they are going to continue sponsoring the channel moving forward. So I'm definitely excited about that. They seem to be very pleased with how things are going. I'm pleased with them. And so I think all of you guys are also pleased with the books that we give away on a weekly basis. So huge shout out to those guys for being an awesome sponsor of the channel, and specifically of the Ready, Set, Go preview show. We will be continuing in the future, and I am definitely excited about that. So let me scroll down to the bottom here. Great giveaway, says Tina. Mailed out on Sunday. Yes, it will go to the mailbox on Sunday. Yes, it will be dropped off because my mailboxes here are open and I can go inside and drop them off. Is it Black Saturday? Scrolling down through the comments. Thank you, Rob. I definitely appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. I definitely appreciate that. I mean, they're definitely doing the right thing, you know, and I'm pleased to be working with these guys moving forward. They're awesome guys. They're continuing to grow. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff that I think we're going to be able to work together on moving into the future. And so I'm excited about what we're doing, but I'm equally excited, if not even more excited, about what the future holds. Someone actually reached out to me today and said, is Go Collect planning any like crazy new features for 2020? And I said, stay tuned. So definitely stay tuned. So I wanted to do something today because I've been going live for the last couple of days. So I've been talking a lot, but I wanted to do something in this preview show that people have kind of been asking me about. And several people have been like, so what are you excited about? Like, what's coming that you're actually excited about in terms of comics? And so I want to spend a couple of moments just kind of talking about that. We're not going to go too deep into some of this stuff, but we are going to touch on something that I am actually sort of excited about. And I'm actually going to throw it up here on screen really quickly so that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. And hopefully I get the right one. So this is it. This is one of the things that I'm actually excited about. This is Giant Size X-Men, Jean Grey and Emma Frost. And it wasn't until today that I really understood what was about to happen in 2020, starting in February, and then probably continuing for a couple of months after that. But what is happening is that, and I've spoken about Jonathan Hickman and how I think this dude is just killing the game. What he is about to start doing is, I believe that there are 5 one-shots that are going to be dropped starting in February, starting with this book right here, in which he is going to provide us with all kinds of background and I guess like in-depth kind of profiles and relationship profiles of several characters. And I believe that this first one-shot here, this Jean Grey and Emma Frost, which drops in February, is actually going to be an in-depth story on the 2 of these women and also Storm. And if you remember from one of the earlier, I think it might have been one of the last House of X issues. I believe that was it. There was this moment where Storm made some comments about Emma, and what it was doing was basically setting up what I think are going to see play out in this one shot right here. And I think we spoke about this in a previous show where there was this whole discussion around who that was in the background. You can kind of see Wolverine, you can kind of see Cyclops, and there's some kind of creature off here to the left. But there's a lot of speculation as to, you know, is this going to be the Shadow King, because the Shadow King was kind of involved with Storm back in the day. So I don't know. But what I think is great about this, and I learned this today, is that this is not the only one shot that is going to be coming out that Jonathan Hickman is going to be doing. He is actually doing, I believe, what is being called 5 essential one shots, all under this umbrella of Giant Size X-Men. And so the second one is this one right here. This is the Giant Size Magneto. And so what's interesting about this one right here is that this one is actually going to go clearly into some background on Magneto. But what it seems is that it is going to be this whole story about how Magneto squares off against humanity with the X-Men by his side. And we saw some of this play out in House of X Powers of 10, where, you know, Magneto made these comments about your God is standing before you, Charles made some comments around while you slept, the world changed. And then Magneto just took it to a whole nother level with a whole lot of like God talk. And so I think that this one is really going to focus on hit Magneto's leadership in the absence of Charles Xavier, who many of you know was actually killed. He was killed, I believe it was in X-Force #1, and we saw some of the aftermath of that in X-Force #2, which I think, again, is leading into this giant size where it is Magneto leading Krakoa, leading the X-Men, squaring off against humanity. And so I am really, really excited about these two giant size one shots. And I think that, again, that there are three more that we don't know about. And so you can start to guess as to who those will be, who those are going to focus on. But I don't think that that has been made public just yet. But if you ask me what I'm excited about, it is the opportunity to see all of this X-Men stuff just kind of play out, because I think that, again, Jonathan Hickman is doing some really, really fantastic stuff right now. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So let me scroll down to see what I missed here, see if you guys are talking about a couple of things. What is this? There's a comment I can't see. Hickman just trying to steal our money. Man, this is one of those things you see it and you're like, here, just take it. Just take it. But that Magneto in the white uniform, I think is a really, really dope version of Magneto. And in this hour-long podcast that I listened to of Jonathan Hickman, he kind of spoke about the enjoyment that he had from writing Magneto. And so I think that Magneto is one of those characters that he seems to enjoy, which is why Magneto's, like, his lines in House of X and Powers of 10 were so powerful. I think it was because Jonathan Hickman really got excited about this character, but also because he knew that he was laying a foundation for what is coming. And if you guys remember, Jonathan Hickman said a while ago that he is going to be on the X-Men for a while. And so because there was all this speculation that he was going to do House and Powers and he was going to walk away, he was maybe going to do a couple of issues of X-Men, the ongoing series, and walk away, he has made it pretty clear that he is going to be on this long term. And I think what we are seeing, to Aaron Finkelstein's point here, we are seeing him lay out, or I should say better said, he is executing a plan that has already been laid out. And so this dude is headed to something. And I don't think we know what it is, but I think wherever he is headed, he is going to get a lot of my money on his way. And I have a feeling that when we get there, it's going to be incredible. That is definitely my belief. So interesting cover choice, says James Tomlinson. I'm not sure which one you were actually going to talk about right there. I wasn't sure if that was the Magneto or the women, whichever cover. I'm not sure which one that was. They're going to fight for the death of women. They're going to fight to the death for Cyclops. I hope not. I hope that won't be it. We actually saw that kind of sort of play out in the early 2000s, right? We saw Jean Grey and Emma get into it over Cyclops. So I'm hoping that we don't see that play out, because that's kind of old news, but it would be interesting to see something involving, Storm and Shadow King or something like that. Cause I mean, two super talented, telepaths. I mean, it'll be interesting. Whatever they come up with, I think it's definitely going to be dope. So I'm definitely excited about that. So I think my chat is also a little delayed here, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. Okay, so James is talking about the Jean and Emma. Definitely, I don't know what that chaos is in the background of that particular issue. And we looked at this one before during one of the other live streams where we were trying to figure out what that was back there. And I don't know if we ever came to a really good consensus on what it was, but there's definitely Wolverine up here on the top right. You see his claws, and then down in the bottom left, you definitely see some Cyclops. And then there's a couple of like eyes right here, which are just weird. I'm not quite sure what that is. And then there's definitely some creature over here with fangs and that's Wolverine's claws right here. But there's definitely a face and some fangs here, and then fangs here in the upper left quadrant. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I mean, this dude is telling some really excellent stories, and so it'll be awesome to kind of see some of this stuff play out. Scrolling down, Hawkeye, how you doing, brother? It is definitely good to see you. The Magneto one must be for March, I guess. Yes. So The one shot here that we're looking at on screen, the Jean Grey and Emma Frost, this one actually drops in February, and then Magneto is March, and then I'm assuming that we're going to see 3 more over the course of the next few months. And my assumption is that all of this stuff, based upon things that I've read, things that I've heard, is that we are headed to some kind of event or something like that, potentially during the summertime, because that kind of sort of makes sense. And I'm guessing it's going to be some crossover kind of stuff, but hopefully it's good and it's not just a massive crossover that really goes nowhere. So we shall see where this whole thing leads. So scrolling down, missed a comment here from Frank. How you doing, Frank? It's good to see you. Said, I got here a bit late. Which Magneto cover are you talking about? The one shot? Yeah, we are talking about, let me see if I can throw it back up here on the screen. It is actually the giant size one shot Magneto that is actually going to be dropping in March. This one right here, dope cover. He's partnered up here with Ben Oliver for this one, and it's my understanding that Jonathan Hickman is writing all 5 of what is being called essential one shots, and he is partnering, I do believe, with a different artist on each one of those. And so Ben Tolliver is the one that is doing Magneto, and I honestly don't know who the other the other 3 covers are besides Daughterman. Daughterman is the one that's doing the women. So we shall see. We shall see what comes out of this. Says it'll probably lead back to the resurrection of that potentially. I think that you're talking about the one shot. The one shot, we may see that one lead back to his resurrection, because if you're reading, what was it, X-Force #2, Hank McCoy was looking into how to bring him back, and so he seemed to be a little uncertain as to whether he could actually do it. So my feeling is that they're going to string it out. That's my guess, right? They're going to string it out possibly, but it seems like February would be a long time to string it out too. But based upon the solicitation and all this kind of stuff that I've been seeing for this Magneto, they may stretch it out pretty far, which I don't know. It's like, bring them back and let's see where this thing goes. But again, maybe they are all leading towards something really great. Only time will tell. So these are all, yes, Steve is asking the question. I believe that all 5 of them, there are 5 giant size one shots, and I believe that they're really going to focus on a handful of characters at a time, and I'm guessing it's going to give us maybe some background, some backstory, a different look at the character that will serve a foundation for moving forward. That is my assumption from what I'm seeing, but you never know. This dude Jonathan Hickman has made it very clear that he purposefully put things in House of X and Powers of 10 to distract us. He purposefully did things to get us, like, purposeful misdirection is probably the best way to do it. And I think he wanted to make sure that the book wasn't predictable, that people could not figure out where he was going because the breadcrumbs were there. And so he purposefully did some things to misdirect and mislead. But that was part of what kept it really interesting for a lot of us. So I'm actually very impressed that he actually did that. So you are very welcome, brother. You are definitely welcome. What is this, Reggie? We don't want to go to an event. It's leading somewhere, man. I can't remember. I was watching something, and they got on this whole thing around how Marvel, stumbled upon the big event, right? It was like always the big event with all the tie-ins, and then ever since then, I think it might have been with the X-Men when they first did it. I can't remember. It might have been like Mutant Massacre, might have been like the first major like X crossover, and they basically said that once they stumbled upon that magic formula, it was mandated every year. There has to be a major crossover event, whether it was good, bad, or ugly. There was a major event. And so I don't mind a major event if it's good. And if you look at like Absolute Carnage, pretty darn good. And a lot of people liked, what was it? The War of Realms. I think that's what it was. People seem to like that one as well. So if you're going to do it well. Don't do it and do it poorly and then be mad that people don't buy these poorly written books and poorly connected books. So definitely we'll see. There's an issue cover with Jean wearing the Cerebro helmet. Oh, that's interesting right there. There's an issue cover with Jean wearing the Cerebro helmet. Now here's where I'm going to disagree. And I'm throwing this out. Not to call you out, because I wouldn't do that. But what I will say, one thing I struggle with variants is that they sometimes do these really, really awesome covers that have nothing to do with the comic. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing that sometimes throws me off. And I've actually had an opportunity, as I've spoken with a couple of people that actually do these exclusive variants, they sometimes just make it up. They literally just make it up. And that is one thing where you're like looking at the cover and you think that the cover is going to be about something, and it is about something completely different. I don't know if that is for the Marvel titles or just for the variant titles. But I will say this: you could be right. You could be right that it could be telling us something, or it could just be someone taking some creative license with a really cool cover that absolutely points us in no direction other than to give up some cash, you know. But if she's rocking that, that might be a really cool one. So let me scroll down, see if I missed anything. Don't want to skip anyone over. Scrolling down, scrolling. Bear with me here, people. Xavier will come back if possible in X-Force down the road, or we will see them fail and Magneto or Apocalypse change the course. Yeah, it could be interesting, man. It could be interesting. Again, wasn't I don't know if it was Secret Wars. I feel like it was Mutant Massacre. I feel like, I don't know, man. I mean, there's so much like history out there that sometimes I confuse myself when I read it. So maybe there's someone in here that can definitively answer the question for us as to which was the first major crossover, right? Because Secret Wars I feel like it was a self-contained title, right? Versus like Mutant Massacre, which crossed over the various titles, X titles that were out at the time. And that's why I feel like that might be it, but I could totally be wrong. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, scrolling down. Okay. So John, who was that? Someone just corrected me on that, saying that it was not a variant. So Hawkeye is saying this, it was not a variant. It's the main A cover for that X-Force issue. So there you go. That definitely is helpful. So thank you for that, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Scrolling down through the comments here, making sure. Scott, how you doing, brother? I was thinking about you earlier today when I was looking at one of the designs for the shirt that you worked on. I actually sent a message over to Joy so I can try to see if we can get another shirt made at some point in the future here. So I have an email out to her, but I do owe you a message or a phone call or something like that. Hopefully we can connect about that other topic. Scrolling down through the thing. What does it say? Kirby did that on occasion when they could not get the artwork done in a timely fashion. Yeah. From what I've heard, they actually have, and this is all hearsay, right? They supposedly have, cover art kind of setting off in a bin somewhere, right? And occasionally, if something doesn't come in time, they just kind of pull it out and throw that on a book. But generally speaking, I think if you are doing a variant cover, you work with the artist, and then you have to submit that cover art to Marvel for Marvel to approve it. But it doesn't. The cover art doesn't necessarily have to be what the book is about, right? So because I don't think sometimes when you pull the trigger on doing your variant cover that you exactly know what the book is about when it's actually done. So that's why there's potentially that disconnect. And again, if you're spending, I don't want to put a number out there, but if you're spending a considerable amount of money to get a really talented artist to do a cover for you, and it is on your book, right, that you are paying for, you kind of sort of want to have some fun with it and not do something that's kind of boring. So definitely, I don't know, cover art subject to change. That is the note that they do put in there, right? Because it is subject to change. Marvel has been doing more theme-based variants in the last couple of, that's true. That is true. Like Venom Island, they did one where there was like the blood or something like that on a couple of the covers. There was like the hidden variant with the blood or something like that. So there definitely is some of that stuff. All right, so we're going to keep this thing moving along. I want to give you guys a heads up. On some of the videos that are going to be coming out from the channel this week. These are in no particular order, but these are the five videos that are going to be coming out. There is one that is basically like an MCU sleeper pick. So there is a way I think that a particular character and team could be introduced into the MCU based upon some things that I actually I'm seeing being done by Jonathan Hickman right now. And my belief is that what Jonathan Hickman is basically doing with House of X Powers of 10 and some of the ongoing stuff could serve as a foundation for some things that play out on the movie screen. They could be things that Kevin Feige and others leverage to bring to the screen. And so there's these wonderful elements that you kind of see in some of the work that he's working on. I'm like, hey, that might be a cool way to introduce so-and-so. And so I'm actually going to show you a couple of sleeper picks. These are some books that came out in the 2000s that I don't think people were really paying attention to, but I've actually gone back and read as a result of the things that Jonathan is doing right now. And I thoroughly enjoyed them. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of people have been asking me this question for tips on how to sell comics on IG. And I can tell you for a fact, I am not an expert at selling on Instagram. I have been fortunate enough to move a healthy number of books via that social channel. And so people are kind of asking the question, hey, can you provide me some tips? Are there some things to think about, some things to be aware of? And so there's a video that is going to be coming up from the channel this week where I'm going to offer you some tips. And I definitely encourage others of you out there that sell on Instagram to watch the video and plug your tips in there to help other people. Because I think it's actually a good video, but it's groupthink, right? The more people that lend themselves to the content, the richer the content ultimately becomes. A lot of people have also been asking for this one, how I organize my collection, right? And I've done a couple of videos on how I organize my collection in the past, but I went a little bit deeper this time. And so this video that is going to be coming out actually shows a 360 view of the comic book room here, which is a lot smaller than maybe you think that it is. I mean, I don't know. It's a small room to me, but I'm going to give you a 360 look in the room here, and we are going to take a look at how it is that I organize my respective bins and the comics within those bins. I'm also going to be doing a vlog, and this is one that I'll probably release on the podcast as well, but I'll release it as a vlog here on the channel, and it's actually going to be basically, it's really a question that I'm asking you all. And the question is, what will drive future value of comics in the past? And this is actually something that we've discussed in the past when I did the dark side of third-party grading. But this one is basically going to ask the question, what do you think the future value of comics will be coming from? What's going to be the driver behind that? And then I picked this book up right here. Somebody recommended this book to me the other day. This is Niobe, She is Death. This is actually an independent comic book company out there called Stranger Comics. And I actually picked this one up today while I was at a shop. Have not read it. It's a little beat up. Unfortunately, it was the very last one on the shelf. It was actually a special order for another customer. The shop owner ordered two. I was able to grab one. So I'm looking forward to reading that because I literally just heard about it like 3 days ago from a subscriber, and which is great because I had already recorded this video in which I'm actually going to be talking about indie comics, right? We talk a lot about Marvel and DC and some other, Valiant and Image and stuff like that, but not a whole lot about independence. And so that video is going to be coming out later this week as well. So there you go. That is basically the rundown. That is the rundown of all the books that are going to be coming out. Brother, you don't have a room because you don't have a house. You get a house, you get a room. Those are the rules right there. Matthew, it is good to see you, brother. Hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving down there in the South Bay. Definitely good to see you. So scrolling down through scrolling down through the comments here, giving Matthew a hard time. He's 15, definitely a good kid. If you guys are ever worried about the future of comic books, just look at Matthew. He is an amazing Spider-Man fan, and you can't go wrong with that. Scrolling down through the comments here. Oh, let me throw this up on the screen real quick. For those that don't know, and this was actually a message from Johnny Future, and I think a lot of you guys know it was actually Small Business Sunday or something like that, or Small Business Saturday. There was basically small businesses were doing some major incentives all across the country to get people in there. I know that all this weekend, right, there have been like crazy sales everywhere, including Midtown Comics has been offering a really awesome sale. So if you guys have any money left, you definitely want to check out some of these sales that are being offered online, but certainly those at the local comic shops. I went out. Let me show you this real quick. I went out myself today and picked up a nice stack of comics earlier. Again, so buy local if you can do it. The comic shops need your money. Rob, there you go, brother. Man, so here's the thing, Rob. I was mad at you yesterday, so I went and looked this book up, man. And what's funny is I actually gave this book away. I had 42. And I gave it away as part of it might have been a gift from a subscriber for the intent of giving it away. And I had this book in my hand, and so someone out there has this book now. Now Rob is making me go out and buy this book again, specifically Star Wars 42. If I'm going to get one, I'll probably get 42 versus 68, but I literally wrote it on my board. I wrote Star Wars 42, 68 right on the board because I am going to get it. I don't know when, but I am definitely going to get it. So he is putting the pressure on. He is no joke. He just dangles a little bit out every day. No, I definitely appreciate it. All right, so let's go ahead and give away a comic real quick. All right, so we're going to give away this slab, and again, I appreciate everyone making the necessary adjustments to accommodate my schedule. I had to end the contest a little earlier, so hopefully everyone understands that sometimes life gets in the way. It's the Boba Fett. It's the let me see if I can find it real quick. Let me throw this one up here. Throw it up here. Star Wars 42. That's the thing is I was talking to one of the shop owners today. I was like, I've given away a lot of books and then regretted it after I've given those books away, either because a Go Collect or someone has given something to the channel for the purpose of giving it away. But oh, wow, that's not good. Got a little error message here. So bear with me. I'm trying to pull up this thing really quickly. Oh, I just realized I'm actually on Wi-Fi. That is not good. I didn't realize I was on Wi-Fi. That's what I get for taking my computer out of the room here from versus being on my hard line. So hopefully you guys are able to see the picture pretty clear here. But I'm having an error. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get this to work again. Better now than right in the middle of me randomizing the list, right? So I'm actually going to try to switch over to the hard wire and hopefully we don't lose anything here. So bear with me. It's one of those things when you go live, sometimes things break. That is not working. That's interesting. Page is not rendering. Try this. I wonder if their site's down. Try that. And that works. Okay, so let's try this again. Nope. All right. So that's not going to work. All right. So I'll have to show that another time because actually, let me try to go it a different way. Bear with me, guys. Sorry about that. All right. See, I can pull this up real quick. Answer this question. Nope. Nope, not that one. Actually, that is it. So here, I'll throw this up on the screen real quick. This is the one that I'm talking about. This is the Star Wars 42 that Rob is trying to entice me to pick up. It is this one right here, Star Wars 42. Featuring the Mandalorian. So what's funny is that my son Carter actually comes down from upstairs 3 days ago, I think it was, and he had on some yellow pajamas, and the yellow pajamas had the various masks or head pieces, the helmets from the Mandalorian. He had Yoda on there. He had a stormtrooper. He had Darth Vader, CP3O, and so I had to tell him who all the characters were. So I actually pulled up the Mandalorian TV show and actually showed him the intro where they flashed the helmets up there. So he got a big kick out of that. So that is the Star Wars 42 Bounty Hunters. There you go, says Rob. Good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and give this book away real quick. I am going to pull up the list of names of all the folks that were able to actually enter this week's Go Collect giveaway. And I want to say that there are like 158 names or something like that on the list. And so your odds are actually pretty darn good. These are all the names that I was actually posted up earlier today on the community tab for all to see. And so let me go ahead and share the screen again so we can roll the dice. And then we are going to jump into this thing. So let me go ahead and roll this dice and see how many times. Wow, that is one of the lowest numbers I've ever seen on here. And so we're going to randomize the list a total of 3 times, and then we're going to give away this book. And again, if you are lucky enough to win this book, this is X-Men number 127. Make sure you send me an email to regiecollects@gmail.com tonight, REGIE collects.com, and I will be sending out to you that book. Tomorrow I will go ahead and get it in the mail so that you guys actually get it. All right, so let me go ahead and randomize this thing 3 times. That is 1. Scrolling down, that is 2. And the winner of the Go Collects giveaway for this week is Havoc 1718. Havoc 1718. You are the winner of a really cool Power of Proteus X-Men number 127. Make sure you send me that email. Oh man, I forgot to switch the screen out. Sorry about that. Let me flip that back one more time so that you guys can actually see it. Here is the list. You can see that there's 158 names. Havoc 1718 is the winner. Down at the bottom, you can see that the list was randomized a total of 3 times, which is what the die showed a few moments ago. So that is our winner, Havoc 1718. Congratulations, my friend. I see my man Backseat Driver there in the 4th position. Who else? Cape Crusader. Joa is there at 10. Greek Freak is there at 11. I see you guys. Ramos at 14. So again, congratulations, Havoc. Make sure you send me that email to regiecollects@gmail.com so I can get this book bundled up and sent out to you. And just as a reminder, not only will you get that book, you're also going to get this exclusive variant from Go Collect, and you will have your option of a t-shirt or a stylus. The t-shirt only comes in large and extra large. I only have 5 t-shirts left. So very soon you will only be able to get a stylus unless Go Collect sends me some more t-shirts. But if you send that email to me, let me know your preference. I will get this bundled up. Your email should contain your screen name, your real name, and your mailing address and your preference and shirt size. If you want the t-shirt, we'll get this thing bundled up and sent out to you. All right. And I do not have the next book for the giveaway, so you definitely have to stay tuned. The book is en route. So stay tuned because I will be showing you that book at some point this week, probably in the video. All right, so let me scroll down to the comments here. A couple of people still talking about the Midtown. So there you go. We've Boba Fett. Don't tell Rob. Don't tell Rob. We don't want Rob to know. He needs to keep giving those super chats. I am teasing. I have a serious lag on my side of the comments. You guys are going to have to bear with me. It has not caught up just yet. There is definitely a lag that is actually going on. I'm about 5 minutes behind in comments here, so that is not a good thing. I'm gonna have to send the developers a message because there's a couple of little glitches that are happening right now. So anyway, one more. I'm gonna give a quick little rundown of the books that are the videos that are going to be released from the channel this week. There's actually going to be an MCU related sleeper pick video in which I'm going to highlight some books that could make their way, or characters from books that may make their way into the MCU. I'm going to be releasing a video with some tips on how to sell comics on Instagram, a deep dive into how I organize my comic book collection, a vlog on what will drive the future value of comics, because that could definitely be interested. And then the very last thing is a video on indie comics, and it's going to be like an indie shout out that you guys are going to drive. So definitely could be some really cool stuff. All right. So we still continue to have some technical glitches. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and wrap this up because it is not catching up. So, all right, with that, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to be part of this live stream. I hope that you enjoyed it. Congrats again to our winner. I think it was Havoc 1718. Make sure that you send me that email. And everyone, stay tuned to the channel because I'll be releasing videos all this week at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time every single day. And then I may also be going live a few times during this week as well. And certainly there will be a podcast or two that is coming your way. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so at Reggie Collects on Instagram or regiecollects@gmail.com. Take care.